Chapter 7 The New Bat Boy. I woke to the gentle sound of Jackie Jr. screaming his head off. Once the Robinsons calmed him down, we shared some cornflakes together and looked at the newspaper. The game wouldn't start until 2 o'clock, but Jackie wanted to get out to the ballpark early. Mrs. Robinson picked up Jackie Jr. and walked us outside. It was a cold, cloudy day. "You should have brought a jacket," Mrs. Robinson told me. "Moms, they're all the same." "I'll come out to the ballpark as soon as he wakes up from his nap," Mrs. Robinson said as she kissed Jackie goodbye. "You're going to be great, Jack." "I know," he replied, gesturing toward me. The kid already told me. Jackie didn't have a car. We walked to the nearest subway stop. Jackie went through his pockets and came up with a couple of nickels. 5 cents for a ride. Not bad. He gave me a nickel and we pushed our way through the turnstile. The train wasn't crowded. There were about a dozen people sitting around us, most of them white. I didn't want to get into any trouble, so I tried not to make eye contact with anybody. A few people were staring at Jackie as he looked at a newspaper. I wasn't sure if it was because he was black or because they knew he was one of the Dodgers. He was nervous, he told me. He had played second base for the Montreal Royals in the minor leagues, but the Dodgers needed help at first and asked him to play that position. It would be a learning experience. We had been on the subway for about 15 minutes when Jackie told me we would be getting off at the next stop. The train screeched to a halt, and when the doors opened, I could see a sign that said Prospect Park/Botanical Gardens. When we got out of the subway, Ebbets Field was nowhere in sight. The street sign said Empire. Jackie knew where to go, and I followed. We walked down Empire for a couple of blocks until we reached Bedford Avenue. We made a left corner. I looked up and saw the sign, Ebbets Field. There it was, the mythical baseball shrine. It had been torn down long ago, I knew, but it existed for me. I was standing outside it. My heart beat faster. There was a gas station across the street from the ballpark, and an automobile dealership next to it. They were selling DeSoto's, a kind of car that I had never heard of. There were no fans at the ballpark yet. Jackie led me through the center field gate. We walked up on a long ramp which ended with a small opening. When we reached the opening, I could see the field for the first time. New York had been a lot of concrete so far, so the overwhelming greenness of the field took me by surprise. It was a beautiful sight. The ballpark actually seemed smaller than what I was expecting. The seats were really close to the field, so close that parts of the upper deck hung out over the playing field. Fans could look right down on the players. The outfield walls were completely covered with advertising signs. Van Heusen shirts, Ever Ready shaving brushes, Bulova watches, Lifebuoy soap, Botani ties, Guy products. A skinny horizontal sign read "Hit Sign, Win Suit." It looked like an impossible shot. The sign was only about 4 feet high and low to the ground, right behind where the right fielder would be positioned. The Gem Razor and Esquire boot polish signs were against the right field grass and leaned back slightly. The enormous scoreboard with a big Shafir beer sign on it stuck out about 5 feet into right center field. Playing the outfield with all those crazy angles must be a nightmare, I thought. Jackie and I walked through a door marked Clubhouse, Players Only. The Dodger locker room was a big rectangular room with a line of windows close to the ceiling. It was hot in there, and I didn't think it was because the air conditioning hadn't been turned on yet. The place had no air conditioning. Lockers, each about the size of a phone booth, lined the walls. A clean uniform hung in each one. I scanned the names above the lockers: Pee Wee Reese, Carl Furillo, Dixie Walker, Pete Reiser, Cookie Lavagetto, Algion Frido. I knew these names from reading baseball books and hearing old stories. Jackie found his locker while he put on his uniform with the big 42 on his back. I took a walk around. When I walked into the trainer's room, I was surprised to see a white kid about my age in there. He had his feet up on the massage table, and he was reading a magazine called Amazing Stories. The kid was wearing a Dodgers uniform. "What do you want?" he asked brusquely. "Nothing," I replied. "You the new bat boy?" I certainly wasn't the new bat boy, but he obviously didn't know that. And if the Dodgers needed a bat boy, well, I figured I can do that as well as anybody else. It could be kind of cool to be the bat boy for the Brooklyn Dodgers. "Yeah," I said, doing my best to look like I was telling the truth. "Well, is you or is you ain't?" "I is," I said more assertively. "I mean, I am. I'm the new bat boy." "I'm Anthony," the kid said. He didn't offer his hand, so I didn't put mine out. "Call me Ant. Everybody does." "Joe," I said. "Joe Stoshak." "What's a colored boy doing with a Polack name?" "I don't know. My folks gave it to me." I didn't like the Polack crack, but I had promised Mom I'd be on my best behavior, so I didn't slug him. "How come you don't talk colored?" "I talk the way I talk." Aunt looked me over, sizing me up. Usually when I meet new kids, they give me the benefit of the doubt. They don't hate me or like me yet, but they check me out to see if I'm okay. This Aunt, I could tell, didn't like me the second he set his eyes on me. I had been careful to wear a plain old t-shirt and blue jeans so it wouldn't be obvious that I came from the future. But Aunt was pretty observant. "Where'd you get dem dumb sneakers?" he asked. I looked at my feet, then at Aunt's. I was wearing a pair of Nikes, the cheapest ones they made. There was nothing fancy about them. I mean, they weren't Air Jordans or anything, but I guess my sneakers looked strange to Aunt. He was wearing black canvas high tops. Their labels said Keds. "I wore out my Keds," I said. "These are new." Aunt took a uniform out of the closet and tossed it to me. It was heavy, much heavier than my Little League uniform. It must have been made of wool or flannel. The word Dodgers stretched across the chest, with the "do" on one side of the buttons and "Jers" on the other. I turned the uniform over to see what number I had been given. I was hoping for something in the 40s like Jackie, but across the back of the uniform was the word "Bat Boy." Aunt led me back to the main clubhouse and pointed at the locker where I was supposed to change my clothes and stash my stuff. Jackie was sitting and reading some letters in front of his locker in the other corner. As Aunt walked away, he mumbled under his breath, "I can't believe I gotta work with a—" I had heard the word before, but never directed toward me. The N-word, most people in my time call it. I knew it. It was about the worst word you could say to an African American, though it never really meant much to me. Now I felt angry and humiliated. Aunt had already called me a Polack, and now he was giving me the N-word. The blood rushed to my face. Aunt was on the other side of the clubhouse now, about to go into the trainer's room. I went after him. I was going to bust his face in. I would have to, but Jackie jumped up from his stool and grabbed me. Aunt disappeared into the trainer's room. "I'm going to kill him," I seethed. "No, you're not," Jackie said calmly. "He called me a I couldn't even say the word." "What? You've never heard that before?" Jackie burned his eyes into mine and poked a finger at my chest. "There will be no incidents. Do you hear me? I made a promise to Mr. Rickey when he signed me. He said guys are going to say awful things to me. Guys are going to do awful things to me. They're going to try to provoke me into fights. If I lose my temper and cause a riot or something, it will be 10, maybe 20 years before another Negro gets this chance. Understand?" I didn't. Not entirely.